Alright guys, well the Game Awards have concluded and we've all seen the information that has dropped around Tekken and Virtua Fighter. Now for me personally, the Game Awards were a massive W. I think that was probably my favourite Game Awards I've ever seen. But we're not here to talk about the Game Awards in its entirety. We're going to talk about Clive, my feelings about Clive and the reaction online. I have a lot of things to say about the community as a whole. Maybe not my community because I know what these guys are like, but to the wider community following a lot of Twitter interactions that I had today. And I've got to say, for the first time ever, I finally got to experience what Twitter brain rot is actually like. I couldn't believe some of the conversations I was having with people. So I'm going to outline it all in video format. Now, I want to stress to people that even if I'm arguing with you on Twitter, I'm probably smiling at the camera. I'm not angry. I'm certainly not mad about Clive. Disappointed, yes. So we'll get into that and then I'll get into the community and like my general feelings about everything. But to start with, I am not happy with Clive's inclusion in the game. I am open to having my mind changed as always. There's been things that I've not been happy about initially and then I've had my mind changed. You guys know that I'm always open to those sort of things. Right now, I'm not happy with it because Clive looks like Noctis 2.0. It looks like they've taken everything that was that made Noctis what he was and they've amped it up by 10. I was hoping for a more traditional martial artist type. I know you guys have heard me say that on Twitter before. I was hoping for an Akira, I was hoping for a Kiryu, I was hoping for maybe a Kenshiro, even though he might be pushing it a little bit. I was hoping for maybe Baki or Yujiro. Somebody is just throwing hands. I didn't really want any magic, I didn't want any swords, I certainly didn't want any guns. But having said that, I'm not mad about it and I am happy for the people that are happy that Clive is in there. We will pay for the game. The game is not owned by me. It's just my opinion. If you guys are genuinely happy that Clive is in the game, more power to you. I don't like seeing people miserable after they spent their money. Now, that being said, just because I don't like it, does not mean that I'm going to bow my head and smile or not say something. This is an opinion-based YouTube channel. On my Twitter, much like everybody else, I share my opinions, and that's what I'm going to do now. So if you are enjoying it, that's good for you. And I'm not here to rain on your parade. So if a video like this upsets you, if you feel like it puts you off Tekken, click off the video. I can't help you with that, and I'm certainly not going to hold your hand, but I am going to give my opinion on the whole situation and how I feel about the community's response to it and just basically the direction that Tekken is going in. So I'm going to read out to you the tweet that I made today that basically started a shitstorm on Twitter. I said, there seems to be a massive disconnect between the Tekken developers and their fan base. Clive's inclusion into Tekken 8 may be the most baffling thing they've done, and that's saying something. Now, that's saying something part is actually in reference to Noctis and Negan, but I'm going to get to that in a little bit because people tried to use Negan as a talking point to sort of discredit what I was saying, but they weren't actually thinking about it as a whole. So I'm going to get to Negan in a little bit. So if you're here for the Negan responses, then stick around, but I'll go over that in just a moment. Now, as I said, this is the first time I've ever really experienced proper Twitter brain rot, and I've had interactions with the My Hero Academia community. People didn't like some of the things I had to say about Daima because I was positive about it, and that's another thing. One thing I've noticed about YouTube and Twitter is it doesn't really matter what you say. People hear what they want to hear. Yesterday, I put up a video saying that I was very, very big on Sparking Zero's new update, and I felt like they pushed in the right direction. What do you think people said to me? Oh, you're just glazing the game, Michael. You're just glazing the game. When I criticized Sparking Zero, what do you think they said to me? You're just a hater, Mike. You hate everything. When I said that I like Tekken 8 as a whole product, they were like, how could you like this game as a whole product? I thought you were a loyalist. Blah, blah, blah. When I said I don't like some of the things in Tekken like heat or the monetization, oh, you just hate the game. You can't make these people happy. It doesn't matter what you do. You could show them proof, you could show them receipts, it really doesn't matter. They're either going to think you're a hater or they're going to think you're a glazer. It doesn't matter which side you sit on. In that regard, I'm not entirely surprised, but it did surprise me that some people like, I watch your videos all the time and all you do is complain. And I was like, this is insane to me. I'll make a video like praising Virtua Fighter and I'll literally have someone DM me going, oh, why are you glazing Virtua Fighter? You just switch up on the Tekken community. It makes no sense to me. I'm of the opinion that you can both love something and criticize it. So, to make it clear to anybody that doesn't seem to understand this, and I really don't know how you're not understanding it yet since I stream it every week, twice a week sometimes. I like Tekken 8. I do. I don't like the monetization in it, and some of the balancing around heat I don't like. It is not radical. It is not a radical idea to play a game and dislike portions of it. And that is where Clive comes into this. I might play Tekken 8 and be like, yeah, I like Feng Wei. I like Paul Phoenix. I like playing them. But I don't like Clive. Does that mean I hate the whole game? No, he's a new character. I don't like the way he's designed. I'm sure there's characters you guys don't like. I mean, you've been very vocal in saying you don't want Marduk back. If Marduk gets back in Tekken 8, do you suddenly hate the whole game? Now, honestly, sometimes I sit here and I'm like, how old are these people that I'm talking to? Now, the reason I don't like Clive is for the very same reason that I didn't like Noctis. And for everybody that was on Twitter saying no one complained when Noctis got announced, I'm sorry, where were you when Noctis got announced? Loads of people complained and people still don't like Noctis. As a matter of fact, we did a live stream and Blackheart was in the live stream. Everyone knows Blackheart is a Noctis main and people were ripping into him for using the character. Noctis was universally hated. I don't remember people liking that character very much. He started to get liked a little bit more towards the end of the game's lifespan, but people didn't like Noctis. I still don't like Noctis. I wish Noctis was never in Tekken 7 to make that very clear. So why would I like Clive? For what reason would I like Clive? Do you think just because they guzzled it down our throats once, I just got to accept it again? It doesn't work that way, at least not for me. So the reasons I don't like Clive is because everything that I was watching on the screen looked nothing like Tekken. Obviously, everyone watching that is going to look at it and be like, he looks like he belongs in Soul Calibur. And even then, he is crossed well over into the anime sort of territory. And I know Tekken has been going down that road, and that's something else I'm going to address in a moment. But even for Soul Calibur, it'll be pushing it a little bit. This guy's throwing wolves at you. Yes, I know Kasumi threw a tiger at you. Didn't like that either, just to dispel that. This guy's throwing magic at you. There's giant fists coming out of everywhere. He's shooting you from across the stage. He's transforming into God knows what. The stages are exploding. I'm like, oh my god, this is just more of the things that I don't want to see in Tekken. Now, what people didn't seem to understand is that I wasn't saying that I don't want guest characters in Tekken. I do want guest characters in Tekken, but I don't want any guest character in Tekken. I tried to explain this to some numbskull, and I kept saying to him, no, I do want guest characters in Tekken, just not this one. Am I a hater if they put Lucario and Ash in Tekken? And Lucario is there shooting his energy ball at me just because he's a popular character, just because Pokemon is a popular franchise and people undoubtedly come to play Lucario. Should I just accept it? What if it was Mewtwo? Mewtwo's my favorite Pokemon. I still wouldn't like it. And just in case I know people love saying this, I have Final Fantasy 16. I've played much of the game. I like this game. I'll open it for you guys just in case you think I'm bullshitting. I have the game. I think it's a great game. This is one of my favorite Final Fantasy games, as a matter of fact. I think they really knocked it out of the park in terms of gameplay, the way the story is paced. I haven't finished it yet, but I've played enough to say that this is a good game. And I like Clive. I like Clive. Clive is a good character. I think he's cool. Does that mean that every cool character that I like, I want to see in Tekken? You guys might know of a game called Mortal Kombat. Have you seen how many guest characters are in that game? And how many of them seem so out of place? We just saw Conan the Barbarian drop into that game. Should they just guzzle that up because NRS said so? No one's saying that they don't want guest characters in fighting games, okay? Maybe some people are, but the majority of people are not saying that. But you can't just throw anybody in there. And this is where we get to Negan. And people were trying to use Negan as a talking point to say that Clive is not the most crazy inclusion, Negan is. And that would have been true until we saw Negan's gameplay. Now, I will admit, when they showed us Negan and they had all the Tekken characters on the floor and they were reenacting the Walking Dead episode, I was sitting there going, as somebody that is a massive fan of Negan, I really enjoyed the Walking Dead. Negan was my favorite character. I was sitting there going, why the hell is Negan in Tekken? And to this day, I'm still a bit like, why did they go for Negan? It really didn't make any sense. But when you get to Negan's gameplay, Negan plays like a Tekken character. As a matter of fact, Negan reminds me of Miguel. There's nothing about Negan's playstyle and what he's doing other than maybe having a bit more range because of his bats that doesn't scream Tekken. He is very much a Tekken character. As a matter of fact, of all of the guest characters that got into Tekken 7, Negan was playing Tekken the most. He was playing it more than Akuma because Akuma was basically playing Street Fighter. Geese was basically doing the same thing. And Noctis shouldn't have been there. Let's just be real. Noctis should not have been there. So no. Everyone that keeps on bringing up Negan, no. On the surface, yes, it's a more crazy inclusion. It would be a crazy inclusion, let's say, if they included Dr. Disrespect, right? They put him in Tekken, we'd all be sitting there going, what the fuck? But then if he actually played like a Tekken character, people would come to accept it over time. Clive and Noctis don't play anything like Tekken characters. Now, the other thing people are saying is that, well, they're guest characters, Mike. Of course they're not going to play like Tekken characters. That might be the problem. That might be the problem. When you're coming into Tekken, I kind of want you to assimilate with what Tekken is providing. I don't want you to bring in outside stuff. I don't mind a few things here and there. I actually didn't mind Geese and Akuma. The only problems with Geese and Akuma, I think, is that they weren't balanced well enough. Akuma was just too powerful. They had to tone him down a little bit more, take away more of his damage. I don't know exactly how you nerf Akuma effectively, but Akuma and Geese I didn't mind too much. A, because they're fighting game legacy characters. It makes sense for a fighting game to cross over with a fighting game more than it does an RPG and a fighting game. It just does make more sense, and Akuma is an iconic fighting game character that we can all recognize, and when he was announced, everybody was hyped for it. I was hyped for it. I didn't have anything negative to say. Obviously, when we saw Akuma and Geese in gameplay, we were like, right, they're too powerful. There is a world that exists where Geese and Akuma are not as strong as they were in that game. They just didn't nerf them effectively enough. So yeah, they could have done a better job with them. They were not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but of all the guest characters that got into Tekken 7, Negan was the one that was playing Tekken the most, and anybody that says any differently is lying to you. Now, another thing is that people keep on bringing up the fact that my talking points hold no weight because Tekken has already had wacky characters. It's had the bears, it's had a dinosaur, it's had a kangaroo, it's got a gigantic robot, it's got devils, it's had an angel, it's had a whole monster with a snake on its arm, and yes, there has been wacky characters in Tekken. But do you know what majority of those characters are not doing? The dumb shit we saw Noctis and the dumb shit that we saw Clive doing. Alex is not summoning the cast of Turok or Dino Crisis to do his bidding when he's fighting. Yes, a boxing dinosaur is stupid. I've said it multiple times on stream. I don't want to see animals in Tekken. I don't like it. I've never liked it. Even when I was a kid and I started on Tekken 1 and there was a gigantic bear. I was like, what the hell is this? Or Tekken 2, whichever one Kuma was in first. I remember seeing it and being like, this is stupid. Why is there a giant bear? And I've always felt like that about the animals. But with someone like Alex, for example, a boxing dinosaur, which again is stupid, he's boxing. He's not summoning other dinosaurs to do his bidding, right? Kuma is not summoning trees and climbing up them to body press you on them in the middle of gameplay. Roger doesn't have loads of kangaroos flying out of his pouch doing weird shit. They're actually using fighting styles. So when I was saying that Tekken has historically been grounded in its fighting styles, that is what I was talking about. Yes, it has had dumb characters. Yes, it's had robots. It's had space ninjas. But it's never been so over the top when they're actually doing the fighting. Now in Tekken 8, they have started to push it, undoubtedly. But there are a bunch of other Tekken games before that to reference. You can even look at Jin and Kazuya in Tekken 8. Jin especially. Jin in his base form when he hasn't popped heat is ridiculous in my opinion. I think it's dumb what they did with him. If you go back and look at Jin before, look at Jin in Tekken 7, or you can even go back as far as Tekken 4, which is one of my favourite versions of Jin. Minus all the broken stuff obviously, but that's a balancing issue. His actual moveset, it was very, very grounded. They've moved more into this anime territory, but just because they've continued to move in this direction does not mean that legacy Tekken players are gonna just guzzle it up. Doesn't mean that we're going to like it. Now, I am not at the end of my road yet. When I'm at the end of my road, Tekken will get the same treatment that Mortal Kombat did. I won't play it, and that will be it. You guys know, if you go through my channel, I was a Mortal Kombat player, and I was a Soul Calibur player. I didn't like what they did to Soul Calibur 6, turned it off and stopped playing. If I don't like a game, I won't play it. But I can criticize something I don't like, and if you don't like it, that's just tough shit. So Jin has become more anime. I remember when the trailer was first shown, and even the main man was looking at him going, what is all of this anime shit? It is very anime, and they've done that across the board in the Tekken roster. It doesn't feel too egregious yet. Heat is a problem. We've spoken about that. We're not going to get into it today, but it doesn't feel too over the top. Clive feels like it has taken it to the next level. If you look at Clive's gameplay and you try to tell me that we have seen stuff like that before, you're lying. He is everything Noctis was and worse. Now, again, I am open to having my mind changed, but that trailer was a hard sell for me. They really showed us a lot of shit in there that I was not vibing with. And a lot of legacy Tekken players are not going to vibe with it. Now, if you like it, that's great. That's great for you. Voice your opinion or play the game and ignore people like me. But I don't know why you think people have to be quiet about it. This is YouTube. People talk on YouTube. People talk on Twitter. They can share their opinions. Why do you get in your feelings about it? I don't understand. The way some of you talk about this on Twitter is like you're really, really mad about it. And I even tried to explain to people, I'm not mad. I'm not even mad at you for liking the character. That's great, bro. I'm disappointed. It's a different word. They mean different things. If I was mad, trust me, you would know straight away. I'd probably be typing in all caps. Someone else also said to me, aren't Nina and Victor shooting people? And I said, yeah. And I was in Amsterdam when they revealed Nina, and I turned to my friend, he watches my videos, he can verify, and I said, why the hell is she shooting people? This is Tekken. This is not a new thing, guys. I know that people are trying to be like, oh, but they've done this before. This is not a new thing. This started back in Tekken 6. Okay, now, some of you might know a player that goes by the name of Cobra Commander. He was a very, very popular player over here in the UK. He ran a tournament here called the Snake Pit. And I had a conversation with him a long time ago in France. We were both in France together. And I said to him, I feel like Tekken is starting to lose itself a little bit. Like, well, it feels like we're starting to move into a different realm of Tekken. And he said to me, Mike, I'll be honest with you. Tekken Tag 2 is probably my last one because I think what they're going to do in Tekken 7 is going to push too far from what I'm used to. And, you know, he stopped playing. He doesn't play Tekken anymore. Now, I'm willing to accept, and it's okay, that Tekken's not for me anymore. It's not for the kind of player that I am. This is where Virtua Fighter comes in. Virtua Fighter seems to be checking those boxes. When I was watching the stream yesterday, they kept on saying reality. And they kept on saying reality-based fighting. They want to keep it like close quarters. That's what I'm looking for, which is fine. Tekken has moved into a new realm now. Yes, it's always had wacky stuff, but it's never had what Tekken 8 has had. Tekken 8 has pushed it over the top. Tekken 7 was pushing it, don't get me wrong. Tekken 8's gone very, very far. So yeah, with the Tekken 8 characters where people are saying, hey, Victor exists. Yeah, I know. I already said that I don't like. Every time I'm fighting a Victor, I'm like, oh my god, get this character out of my Tekken. It's the same talking point I've had since the beginning. This is nothing new. Now, some of these people may not have come to this channel before. They may not have seen my talking points. And maybe, and I'm assuming a lot of them don't actually even play Tekken because they keep on bringing up Negan, not acknowledging that Negan plays Tekken better than the other characters. So yeah, Tekken has moved into a realm that I am slowly becoming uncomfortable with. It is what it is. It's fine. You know, Tekken is for the newer generation now. I have reached unk status, as they like to say. But all of this dooming and then you're glazing. Some of you, I've got to say, respectfully, we're adults here. Some of you come off sounding real dumb. Because you'll show them proof saying, hey, you know, I was bigging up this game. I was giving my honest opinion. Hey, I didn't really like this, but I like the game. Doesn't matter. They hear one thing and they don't want to hear it. Now, as far as Clive goes, of course people were going to be angry. I mean, think about it this way. People were asking for Tifa, and just to make it clear to everybody, I didn't want her in the game either. I didn't want Final Fantasy anywhere near Tekken. Not because I don't like Final Fantasy. I just don't think Final Fantasy fits with Tekken. I didn't think it did with Noctis. I don't think it does now. I know that it's hard for some people to make the connection. I like this game. This is a good game. Do you know what other game I like? Kingdom Hearts. I don't want to see Sora in Tekken. Do you know what other game I like? White Knight Chronicles. I don't want to see those characters in Tekken. I like Dark Cloud. Don't want to see those characters in Tekken. I like Marvel. Do you think I want to see Iron Man in Tekken? Just because people like something doesn't mean it needs to cross over. A lot of people saying, hey, it really shows who played Tekken or who played Final Fantasy and who likes Clive. I saw that all over Twitter and I was like, what is going on here? Do you know how many anime, you know, One Piece and Dragon Ball are my favorite animes. Do you think I want to see Goku and Luffy's ass in Tekken? Some of you were going, oh, put Ichigo in there. I was like, oh, for the Ichigo in Tekken. He's going to be shooting Getsuga Tenshos across the screen. Now, some of you are going to continue to peddle the talking point that it's a guest character and guest characters are good for business. That's great. You sound like Call of Duty players. Like, I don't know what you want me to say. Yeah, Ichigo's probably going to bring people over from Bleach, but at what point does Tekken become like Mortal Kombat? Look at that game. Ghostface, Conan, T-1000, Omni-Man, Homelander, and whoever else, I can't even remember who the other, John Cena, Peacemaker. Mortal Kombat looks unrecognizable, and the MK fan base has abandoned the game. Now, there's other problems with the game, don't get me wrong, MK1 is a hot mess. But if you keep on dropping in characters that are highly controversial like this, rather than just, you don't even have to go with the safe bet, but I think maybe read the room, but I could be wrong on that. From what I've seen, and this could be my own bubble, Tekken players don't seem happy with it. I should say older Tekken players. I did speak to a lot of newer Tekken players and they were happy with it. I had a stream open yesterday. There was about 300 people watching. It was a resounding, what the fuck is this? I don't know how this is going to go. I really don't know. Season 1 for Tekken 8 has been all over the place as far as I'm concerned. I was very excited for Heihachi to come back. They made him an install character. Don't care for it much anymore. I really don't like the whole Ultimate Mishima thing that they've got going on. I don't know, maybe Tekken's not for me anymore and I'm willing to accept that and that's okay. That's fine. You know, Virtua Fighter's on the horizon, they're rebooting it. Maybe that will be the game that is more for me. Now, am I at the end of my road? No. I've told people 100 times. If I hated the game, if I disliked the game, I wouldn't be playing it. I dislike elements of the game and I dislike this particular decision. Again, I know that's a hard concept to grasp for some people, but you can like some stuff. I'm sure some of you guys have seen Dragon Ball Super, right? How many of us had problems with the Frieza saga and the Beerus saga in the anime? Most people love Dragon Ball Super though. If you go on YouTube, there's no anime that has more clips watched than Dragon Ball Super, but you can criticize portions of it, right? It's okay to criticize your favorite things, guys. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. No one's crying over anything. We're just talking about games here. Some of the vitriol that I received, not that it upset me or anything, but I read it and I was like, damn, over a video game. Crazy. Now, I know people don't behave like that outside of Twitter. It's just, Twitter, I don't know, Twitter does something to people. But of course, Clive was going to be controversial. It's controversial amongst Final Fantasy players. So that's all I really wanted to say about that, guys. I'm sure I had some more talking points, but overall, Game Awards was really fun. I had a great time watching it. I think they did a fantastic job. Astrobot winning Game of the Year is a bit like, what the fuck? But the players spoke and Black Myth Wukong got the W. Tekken 8 won Fighting Game of the Year because, you know, who else was going to contest it? And it was overall it was a good show. There was a lot of good games that were announced. I was quite impressed with it. We're going into season 2 of Tekken. We already know Anna Williams is on the way. Anna is a good pick, so I would say season 2 is off to a good start. We don't know what changes Heat is going to bring in yet. We're just going to speak about it openly and honestly as much as I can. I know that I'll make a video in the next coming days about something that I'm very positive on Tekken, and the people that want to focus on me being a shill will focus on that video, and the people that want to focus on me being negative will focus on this video. As far as I'm concerned, any of you that do that, you have your heads firmly up your asses, and I would be happy to tell you that all day, every day. Anyways, guys, take care of yourselves, have a good day, and peace.